Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's show. What we're going to be talking about is being the go-to girl. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the person that everyone knows you can be counted on to come in and have the solution to get the job done, and why that actually sabotages your career. Are you ready? Okay. So that may be a bit of a surprise to some of you. I know it was a surprise to me because for decades, I prided myself in being the person that had all the answers, figured it out, got it done. I wanted to be the go-to. And how many of us have created success by being the go-to? You are the person everyone can rely on. And doesn't that feel great? And you get accolades and you get promotions and you get greater responsibility and you get juicy assignments and you paint yourself in the corner and then you burn out. It's like, it doesn't seem to make sense how something that we do that is so valued by so many, that gives you such a benefit in many ways, is actually something that can sabotage you. So let's break it down today. So when you are the go-to, what that means is this: someone else is thinking, oh, you know what? I have this problem. I need this problem solved. Oh, let me get Kate. Oh, something just came on my desk. That seems stressful. Oh, I don't know how to figure it out. I don't have time to figure it out. Let me call Kate. Oh, wow, that's going to be a nightmare. How are we going to figure this out? Oh, let me call Kate. And so what's happening that we don't realize is it's like everyone else is like Teflon and things just like swoop, slide right off of them, right into your lap, where now it sticks because you're not Teflon. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be Teflon and you need to be like, oh, nothing's ever my problem. Let it all drop on the floor. I don't care. It's not my job. It's not what we're saying. We're not saying become the person who says, not my job. What we're saying is if everyone turns to you immediately as the solution, what we don't realize, because we are ambitious, we care about our careers, we care about success. That is why we are successful women. What we don't realize, though, is ultimately you are painting yourself into a cage of sorts where, yes, you're high paid, and yes, you've gotten promotions, and yes, people come to you and rely on you, and the leadership team or the chairman or whoever it is relies on you. But at the same time, they're not respecting you in the way you now need to have influence and value. Does that make sense? So what they're saying is, and they're not doing it consciously. Please understand, no one's doing this consciously. No one's saying, oh, we'll just give it to Kate. She's just like, the go-to girl. No one thinks that consciously, but we're all humans and we are all in these pressure cooker organizations, high stakes, high pressure. So when something comes onto our plate, the very first thing we are thinking of is, how can I solve this with the least resistance possible? And if you happen to be part of that answer, or if you are the entire answer and it just comes onto you now you don't have it. Now what it says is your value is the person who always gets the job done. And no one's looking at you for actually what you're doing, for what you're saying, for how you're influencing, for how you're negotiating, for how you're navigating. It is like, it's like there's one light item. She gets it done. And that's not what you want in your career, especially not at this point. Look, when you first got out of college and you started your career, you had to get stuff done because that was the only experience you had, right? Like when I first left college, like my first job, I was like working at a copy machine, basically. Like, okay, I had this great title as an account manager or account coordinator, but I basically made copies for a living. Let's just face it. And that was because the only exposure or experience I had was working in an ad agency at the time was to do that. I didn't know how to sit in a client meeting, listen to what the client was saying they wanted from a marketing standpoint, filter that, turn it into a strategy that then stretched the client's thinking up even higher, and then communicated that strategy to an internal ad agency team in such a way that it would beget the work that would then come back and achieve that accomplishment for a client. I didn't know that when I was 24 years old, obviously. I had to gain that exposure. I had to gain that experience. And so I was at the copy machine. So I was the girl who got the copies done and ran things all over the agency and made sure that, the work from point A got to point B to point C to point D. And that's totally fine because you have no other experience. That is your value at that point. You are a warm body that is going in between everyone else to get things done. But what happens is when you are super, super smart, intelligent, ambitious, you want to climb in your career rather quickly, you're quick on the take, right? You're high functioning. What's going to happen is you're getting promoted very quickly, right? Because people see that eagerness, they see that intelligence, they see your ability to solve problems for them. And so what happens is, and this is what happened to me, is you're getting promoted faster than most. And so you're not getting to spend a lot of time really marinating in any one stage of your career. And so there's not really been exposure to shedding one, layer of your career as you pick up the next. So in my case, I never shed that initial, you just got out of college and you're like the go-to girl. You're the person who gets the work done. I just took that with me. And then I picked up the next promotion and did whatever that was. And I took that with me. And then I did the next promotion. And, before you know it, here you are as a senior director, an executive director, a vice president, a full-fledged doctor, whatever it is. And now you're doing all that stuff that initially got you success. You haven't shed any of it, and you've carried it all the way up the ladder, so to speak. And that's why you feel like you're in such a cage, because you have never shed some of these behaviors. And of course, how is that going to sabotage your career? Well, first of all, when I walk in the room, and when you walk in the room, I don't want people looking at us and going, oh, there's a problem. Give it to her. She'll get it done. That doesn't feel good, right? That is not a high contribution metric for you. That is not like, oh, wow, she's a real high contributor. What you want is you want people to go, oh, here comes Jane. Gosh, man, she would be great on this project. I wonder if she could take it on. Do you think we should ask? Wow. I mean, she is audacious. I would love to have her on this project if I could get her. That's what you want. Does that make sense? You want people jonesing to have your high level contributions, to have your high level strategic mind, to have your ability to assess and take risk, to have your ability in the room to negotiate difficult, challenging problems in communication. That's why you want to be in the room. That has nothing to do with being the go-to girl at all. The go-to girl is the one that's like, yeah, give me the project. I'll figure it out. And then you're running off behind the scenes, trying to figure out all the little, pieces in the weeds and the people who are in the project. And yeah, there's some strategy involved. I'm not saying that you don't get to think. I'm just saying what people are looking at you for is very, very differently. And so if you have established a reputation of being the go-to girl, now everyone just goes to you without thinking, without stopping, without wondering if you are the high value player they need, because you're not a high value player. You're just the person who will get it done. You take the problem off of their plate. The problem comes off of their brain pan, and now it's yours. And I did this for way too long in my career, and it burned me out. And so where it creates sabotage is it holds you back from senior level promotions, because senior level leaders are not go-to girls. They're just not. You can't be. Okay. You can't afford it. Don't have time for it. That's not what your value is. It holds you back from real fun compensation increases, because when you are that person that people go, oh, wow, I would really love it if she could be on my project. Do you think you're paid the average salary or whatever's in the band or whatever? No. Your company, your boss, your leadership, they're doing things to retain you because you have established that you are influential and that you make a mark when you walk in the room, that you change the paradigm when you walk in the room, that you bring solutions that no one else sees when you walk in the room. That's going to be a lot higher paid than the girl who gets it done. Okay. It holds you back in the sense that you will burn out. Your body, your psychology, your mind, your emotional state can only take so much of getting it done and getting it done and getting it done. I used to say over and over again, I was like, I don't understand. Every time I finish some big, huge project that literally, is 10 times better than anyone imagined it would be, I always brought phenomenal results. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm just saying, like, that's what you do as a high achiever. You overachieve. So I would over deliver. I'd be exhausted. I had given up time with my daughter. I had, gotten my health off track again. I was eating, Cheez-Its at night while I was working on these things. I had, completely put my personal life on hold. I would get these massive projects done. Everybody would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Thrill. Oh my gosh, Kate, you're amazing, blah, 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 which made me feel great for about, 10 minutes. And then immediately afterwards, they'd be like, okay, great. Now can you get started on this? And after a while, I was like, okay, I'm pretty smart. And somehow this doesn't feel good anymore. And of course, when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I'll get started on that because it felt great. Like, let's be honest, it feels good to be relied on to do big things. It really does. And I don't want to take that away. But after a while, after about, 10, 12 years of this, I was like, why am I always teed up for the next massive project when I have colleague, A over here and colleague C over here? Why is everyone coming to colleague B, which is me? Why am I always the solution? And, my boss at the time, she just looked at me square in the face and she's like, okay, you'll get it done. She was like, why would I give this work to anyone else when I know you're going to get it done? And it was like, oh. And at the time it felt like a compliment, and it is, but it was also like, oh, I'm now creating a situation where my boss is okay with having B grade colleagues on either side of me. Because now she doesn't care if they're B grade colleagues because she has me to do all of my work plus the stuff that she could have been giving to them. Do you see how that just tucks you into, like, really paints you into a corner? So I was painting myself in this corner. And while my ego felt good that I was relied upon, I wasn't helping my boss. There's nothing in that really helps your boss. All you're saying to your boss subliminally is, yeah, I'll just do all the work. And so we can have Joe and Schmo on either side of me, and they don't have to be great employees because I'll get it done. And think about it. There's no reason for your boss to change. Bosses are wonderful. Like, there's no reason for me to change unless I have a problem. And when you are solving all the problems for your boss, including lifting up the entire team because you're getting it all done, your boss has no reason to really look at Joe and Schmo and make a decision other than, well, whatever, whatever. Well, they're fine. The work's getting done. We'll deal with them later. Right. But when you no longer are the go-to girl, now your boss is going to have to look at Joe and Schmo and make some tough decisions. Is your boss going to coach them? Is your boss going to develop them? Is your boss going to fire them? Is your boss going to move them into someone else's team where they're better placed? But as long as you're the go-to, you are painting yourself in a corner and you will burn out, because mentally and emotionally, we can only take so much. And that's what was happening to me. I was like, oh my gosh, jump through this hoop. Okay. I would run, I would jump through the hoop. I would get this massive project done. Yay, Kate gets a gold star. Everybody loves her. Maybe they give me more money. Maybe they give me a promotion, but I also got like 12 more projects right behind it. Okay. Jump to the next hoop. And then here we go again. Now I've got another hoop to jump through. Okay, run, jump through that hoop. And like literally there was like a day in between, like not even a week, not even a vacation. It was like an afternoon. And then I was having to jump through the next hoop and I'd get the next project. But I set that up. And that's what's so cool about this. This is what's so great. And what I love about what we do, the work we do with all of the executive women we work with, is that you have the power to change this. We can sit around all day long and talk about how, the management team needs to be different, and the culture of our companies need to be different. And, we need to have a better work-life policy at work. Absolutely. Yes. But I am not someone who wants to sit around and wait for everybody else to make like my life easier. I'm not waiting for someone else to paint the path. I'm going to paint the path. Thank you. So if I can change how I operate, and I can stop being the go-to girl and be the influential girl, I'm going to pick the influential girl. And I'm going to suggest, if you're listening to this broadcast, that you should too. Now, is it easy to pivot from go-to girl to influential? No. Some of the pitfalls are if you pivot too quickly and too hard, you can damage your reputation, right? Like nobody wants you one day to be like, oh, I'll do everything. Let me do it. I got it. And then the next day you're like, nope, no, 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 no. But that's not probably going to do really well for you. So you have to learn how to navigate that with some finesse and really, elevate your leadership style, your communication style, your negotiation capacity, your communication capacity, right? Like you can't just all of a sudden be like, no. And I think as women, we do this sometimes because we don't like conflict. And so we wait and we wait and we wait and we wait and we wait until we get so pushed to our edge that all of a sudden we just implode and we're like, no, I'm not doing any of that. I hate all of you. Everyone get away from me. And we just get to this really emotional edge. And then everybody's like, well, gosh, Jane's really emotional. And you're just like, oh, right. So that's probably not the level of, professional finesse that you want. And so you don't want to wait till you get pushed to your edge and you're teetering on burnout and you're thinking of giving up your career, giving up your job, or, jumping out of the second story window because you can't take this anymore and all these things, right? You want to be able to strategically start positioning yourself to be more influential, more strategic, more high value contribution, more high functioning type of activities that you're getting involved in, and less, yeah, I'll get it done. Yeah, I'll get it done. Yeah, I'll get it done. It also means that you can't just start delegating things. I think that's the other problem is like, okay, well, I don't want to say we can't get it done, but I'm not going to do it. Let me just delegate it to somebody else. Delegation, schmelegation. Like there's nothing wrong with delegation. We all need to do that as leaders, but it's not a solution to burnout. It's not a solution to work-life balance. And it doesn't make you feel good to be the boss who just shoves all this work on other people who are reporting to you. And now they're overwhelmed and now they're burning out. And now they're resentful and now they're workhorses, right? Like that's, I don't know, that doesn't make me feel good. So again, you can't just delegate, it's elevate, right? You're elevating your team to be taking on more seniority. And, while you are becoming more influential, they're becoming more highly capable, right? And so you've really got to, you juggle this in a whole new way. So rather than I got to get it done, I got to get it done, I got to get it done. It's like, I've got to elevate, they've got to elevate. And then throughout this process, I think this is probably the most challenging thing. And this is where our clients, almost invariably at some point in working with this, they'll say like, Kate, like, how am I going to get all this done? Like I am flat out. I'm already working 70, 80 hours a week. And now I'm supposed to stop working this way and then, pivot over here and start working this way. Like, how do I do that? And I'm like, it's going to be tough. It's like, you're flying the airplane. What is it like? You're flying the airplane while you're changing the engines, right? But you still have to keep the plane at flight. So it is temporarily, you are doing more to sort of bust through to the other side to where now you can do less. And now you can start doing things that really have affect and impact and feel good and are fun and are in your sweet spot, right? Versus where you were, which is like, I'm just getting stuff done. I'm down in the weeds and I'm the go-to girl. So in between go-to girl and influential, let's just say leader, is this bubble that you have to go through that's uncomfortable and feels like more until you pop out on the other side. And that's why a lot of our clients work with us, because they're like, A, I don't want to muck it up. B, I don't want it to take a really long time. And they know if they're doing it on their own, there's a lot more like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And with us, it's just moving forward. And, because you just want to get through that bubble. And so what most of us women do is we're like, okay, I need to change how I work, or I need to change, and we start off in this direction of like, let's just call it the bubble, moving into the bubble of I'm going to change how I work. And then it gets hard. It gets exhausting. It gets scary. You get full of self-doubt. You start doubt. Am I doing this right? Am I doing it wrong? Oh, somebody pushed back on me. Are they supposed to push back on me, or should they not push back on me? Is that going to happen? Because it will, but you want to make sure that you're managing those things. And then we just give up. We're like, okay, I don't know. And then we recoil back to the previous, note of success, which is I'll just get it done. Like, at least that's your safe zone. It's like the double, right? But if only you can invest in moving through that bubble and getting into that as quickly as possible, then you start getting some traction. You start showing up differently. People start seeing you differently. And they're like, oh, wait, that's SVP material. That's an EVP. Oh, that's a doctor who I'm actually going to listen to, instead of saying, well, blow the doctor off because I'm the admin and this is the way we're going to do things administratively. That is what you're looking for. But you got to get some traction, because if not, what does your brain say and your emotions say? This hurts. I don't want to do this. This is hard. This stinks. And we just go back to our safe zone. And that's not what I want for you. And, it took me learning the hard way. I had to bust it all up. And I just, I had to learn the hard way by burning out and walking away from everything that had been so precious to me before I learned that lesson. And I realized that walking away was not the answer. Sabbatical was not the answer. Me sitting on a beach or working as a dive master, as fun as that could be, was not really what I was looking for. I wanted to go past the bubble into this higher level contributor that's really being known for high value contributions, is seen as more precious by the firm, in that we don't want to abuse the privilege of having her in the room, right? And is relied upon, but in a whole new way, not as the go-to, but as the person who is going, like the person who they are willing to wait to hear you open your mouth and speak. That is a pretty cool place to be. And it's not arrogant. It's not like you're like, well, I'll just see. I'm going to sit over here and sip my cup of tea and I don't have time for you people. Like, please understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're behaving that way. I'm saying that people are not just expecting you to just be on the phone, pick up the phone, and always be the person to wipe up and get all the problems taken care of. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right. So I hope this broadcast has been enlightening to you. If you are the go-to person, stop. That is not going to help your career. It's going to halt your career. It's holding you back from your true potential, financially, and the impact you can have, and ultimately being able to stay in your career. So whether it happens when you're 35 or 55 or 65, at some point, your face will just melt off your body, because you cannot continue to work this way. And you're going to be like, never mind, I'm just going to retire early. Never mind, I'm just going to go, be a professional blogger. And I just am going to write, books in my backyard in peace by petting my dog or whatever it is, because you'll just be done. Like, you cannot, like, chemically, we cannot just keep pushing ourselves this way. Your body just starts to shut down, and you'll find yourself being apathetic. And then what's great, of course, everyone around you is like, yeah, you don't need that career. Yeah, you need the simple life. Why? Because they're not ambitious like you, and they've been watching you up in the stars doing all your magic. And of course, they're going to play into that, because that makes them feel more comfortable too. And they mean well, but they're going to be like, yeah, just who cares about all that? And, you got to answer that question for yourself. But I care. I care about my career. I care about being able to do big things. It's fun. It's fun. And if it's fun for you and you love being able to have impact at this level, then you want to have impact at this level, not as a go-to girl, but as an impactful influencer. Make sense? Awesome. Well, this has been helpful for you. We got a ton more training out there. Check out any of our channels, but especially check out some of the newer, little bit longer form trainings. We've got some 45-minute trainings out there you can register for, sign up for, watch it, check it out. If you are someone who needs to protect your career from burnout, watch those longer form trainings and then get on a call with our team. All of our coaches are available to help you. We'll get you really clear on what is the heart of the matter, right? Like, you have to know what's happening in your career. Should you step back? Should you not? How can you pivot? Those are important questions that you should know. We'll help you understand exactly the steps that you need to take. And then if we can help you, obviously, we're delighted to do that. If it's a mutual fit. If not, then we always recommend someone else or another resource to get you in the right place. Cool. All right. It's been fabulous speaking with you, and I'll talk to you soon.